Hi, I'm Shawnee, and whenever I want to listen to something profound and I'm having a moment, I go to GoPro Radio, the fastest growing network in the galaxy.
African Americans have a unique history in this country. There's a legacy of brutal enslavement, economic exploitation, state-sanctioned violence, and deliberate attempts to divide an already fractured people. Bobby Seale said, "The best way to fight racism and oppression is with solidarity." Dr. Ron Christopher Osborne Williams and filmmaker Tylon U. Savior Washington has created a unique online experience where African Americans are not only welcome, but preferred. A space where the only thing that matters is your blackness. Welcome to the Colored Only Café. With Dashawn Farad giving us our world news, Bro Pete, the Empress Lydia Percy, Sonny B. Sutherland Sr., and you, the black community. Welcome to the Colored Only Café, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. The cafe is now open. The barristers are ready to take your orders, and I hope that you're ready to get this jolt, this midweek caffeine jolt, to get you through the rest of the week, and also to wake you up so that you know that what's going on in this world is quite real, and we need this information. We need each other's support. I want to thank you all for being here today. In New York City, it's very humid and muggy. I don't know if anybody knows folks who suffer with asthma and breathing, respiratory. The air quality is just absolutely horrible today. But make sure you check on your loved ones in this humidity and this heat, and with this air quality, okay? Make sure you do that. Welcome, everyone. So good to see everyone in the house. We have people loading into the room. The room is full. People were here early. I love it. And I just love this really important and growing community that we have here at the GoPro Radio Network's Colored Only Cafe. And without further ado, let me check in with my partner and good friend here. Let's see, Dr. Ron in the house. Is he with us today? Hey, Dr. Ron, how's it going, buddy? He does all the back end stuff a lot of times. People say, it's like it's you on his show. Why are you always taking the oxygen out of the room? I say he's there, and then I tap him on the shoulder. We're like a what do you call that? A wrestling team. Going, it's like, all right, I'm pretty tired, Ron. You tap him on the shoulder, and he jumps in and does what he has to do. But we have a very important show today, and I love this kind of work that we do. I want to say hello to everyone who helps us with this work, and I think of the Empress of the GoPro Radio Network, Miss Lydia Percy, is in the house. How you doing, Lydia? She's doing. By the way, folks, you can just say unmute, and then I also see Sean is here. Thank you, Sean, for being here. Divine G. Whitfield, he's an Oscar. Hear this? Oscar Award nominee for just the film Sing Sing. Yep. He is in the house. He's not only a writer, he's a producer of that film, and the film is about his life. Really, it's about the RTA, and he's someone who suffered a wrongful conviction and still fighting for his exoneration, and it's going to be so important to this show tonight that we're going to have. We're going to be talking about an outrageous case. You don't want to miss this show. In fact, you might want to tell a friend to come on in and join this because they're going to learn about one of the most outrageous fabricated federal criminal cases in the history of this country, perhaps. So, you don't want to miss that. I know, Divine, you're going to want to chime in on that, on your, what it is that you're doing.
Brother, I'm here. I'm definitely going to be here.
Yeah. Brother Pete, welcome. It's always good to see you. Brother Pete is in the house. We also have Jamel Sutherland. Thank you, Jamel, for being here. Jamel is the son of Sonny B. Sutherland Sr., who has a couple of programs on the GoPro Radio Network. He has a program tomorrow called I'm Not Having It. He ain't having it. And then he has a music program on Friday because Sonny's roots is the radio. You know, it's a big radio. Matter of fact, he was my radio professor. I wouldn't be doing radio. At McEvers College, Umalu was my professor. He was our instructor on how to really do it on the radio and get things done and come in and do the beat. So he's here in the house, and I see Kathleen Blanco. She did the drop. By the way, guys, you're not doing your drops. Come on, send me the drops. We got drops from Lydia. All you got to do is take your cell phone. It doesn't have to, as you can see, it doesn't have to be all that super professional. As a matter of fact, I like it when it's kind of authentic and raw. Just get your camera and say, hey, I support the GoPro Radio Network so that we can use these drops and, promote it across various platforms and let people know that we are here. Free speech radio is back, and it is black and it is bad. So, folks, just go ahead and take your camera, do your selfie, and send it to us at info@goproradio.com. And then also Sonny B. Sr. is in the house. Welcome, Sonny B. Our friends at All About Community is here. Thank you for being here. And can I tell you something? They've been supporting regularly. We have to get them back on the program to update us on all the stuff that's going on with All About Community. We have the folks at the People's Advocacy Group here in the house, Pursuit of Truth and Justice. I'm telling you, have any issue in the court system? We have a big issue, whether it's federal court, what do you call that? Superior Court, Supreme Court. He's taken New York City all the way to the Supreme Court and has won his case. So he's here in the house. We have also JT. What's up, JT? It's good to see the wolf is in the house. And look up in the sky. It's a bird that's playing. It's super black man in the house. We got the beautiful Jacqueline Banner and her sister, the beautiful Amanda. The Banner sisters are in the house. And you guys are here also. Folks, by the way, if you're listening to us on Facebook and you want to join this very important conversation, we're going to be talking about wrongful convictions. We're going to talk about how they actually happen. And we're going to do that with actually show and tell. We actually have someone who is fighting the system and needs our support. You're talking about one of the most outrageous cases of, falsifying information, prosecutorial misconduct. You're going to want to check out this case. This case is a very, very important one that we've been watching and one that we'll continue to watch. And hopefully with your support, we can change and transform and get some justice, right? All right, that's what this show is all about. But before we do all of that, folks, we got to check in with Deshaun Farad as he give us our Black World. Deshaun, are you there? Are you ready? You standing by to let us know what's going on? By the way, folks, Deshaun has an institute. It's called the Deshaun Farad Institute of Journalism. And he offers classes one-on-one to show folks how it's really done. You can spend lots of money. Sure, you can go to the universities. You can get in debt. Sure, you can do all of that good stuff. But if you want to learn from an active professional, a guerrilla journalist, someone who's unembedded, the consummate journalist, I would say, somebody who eats, drinks, and breathes journalism. All right, that's the good brother Deshaun Farad, and he also has a Cash App. We're going to put that in because when you do things independently, and I got to tell you, folks, freedom ain't free. We have to support those mechanisms and those machines that's unafraid, particularly in this environment. Right, we got a very hostile, fascist environment right now, and people who are still out here speaking truth of power. Some of us can't do it, right, because of our jobs and positions, and the fear is at an all-time high, and the concern. People are being literally snatched up and out in the street, and we got this with a big, bad, beautiful budget. We don't know what the heck that's going to do. They're stealing our pensions. They're stealing the Social Security that we pay into, by the way, and just so that their rich friends can have these wonderful vacations and all this other kind of stuff. So it's time for people power. It's time for the people to stand up. And the people who are standing up, who are speaking truth to power, like Deshaun, like all the folks on the GoPro Radio Network, need your support, right? Freedom is not free. We're going to have to really be aggressive at supporting us. And to that end, I want to remind everyone to go to their Cash App, that's right, and support the GoPro Radio Network. It's really easy to do. It's $ GoPro Radio. And you know that you got the right GoPro Radio because you'll see the alien icon. If you look up on the screen, you'll see the station manager. You'll see the little alien, and you know that you got the right place. And there's nothing too big, too small. We understand times are hard, right? Eggs are $1 million, right? A dollar is a penny today, right? The dollar doesn't do too much, right? So that means what? We even need more and more of your consideration and support. And also, if you don't have the support, just show up. Like and share the content. Everybody tell a friend and say, hey, there's something new that's going on, something revolutionary. There's a movement that's going on. Free Speech Radio is back, and they're doing their thing on the GoPro Radio Network. And it's absolutely free. By the way, folks, if you go to our website, we got some brand new features that I'm super excited about, and that is you can now download the podcast free of charge. We had a little glitch in our system. We have our own server, so they can't shut us down easy like they do on Facebook, like they do on YouTube, Instagram, and all those other things. They use to shadow ban. They use community, what do you call it? Community rules and violations and all this kind of foolishness. I've had people unsubscribed. They say, hey, did you unsubscribe me? I said, no, we're looking for subscribers. We need so it's all kinds of funny business and janky stuff that's going on the on those other networks and platforms that we don't control. So instead of us just complaining, GoPro Radio said, you know what? Let's get our own servers. Let's make it where people can come to our website, and it's easy. They can join in real easy. It's like one click. You go to GoPro Radio, click, and you're in. And then on top of that, in addition to that, we make our podcast free. Okay, you don't have to subscribe to Apple. You ever had Apple just jack your account? You see fees gone. Apple is gangster. It's like, hey, what's going on? That little program that you forgot that the trial was over in 2 weeks, and the next thing you know, $50. It's like, whoa. But we don't do any of that funny business, right? You go to GoPro Radio, and if you like the podcast, like this podcast that we're doing tonight, all you have to do is go to GoProRadio.com tomorrow and click on that download button, or you can listen to it on the platform. And by the way, the traffic is up. We are really growing, and I got you to thank for that. I got all of you to thank for that. The traffic is improving on the GoPro Radio Network because of you. The power of word of mouth is really incredible. So thank you all for your support, your continued support. I'm waiting to Deshaun, but if Deshaun may be having some little technical things.
Oh no, Tyler, I was ready, brother. I was waiting for you to, you were doing the intro.
I was
okay.
Here,
brother. I just had myself on mute, brother, because you weren't finished speaking.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that. So, folks, without further ado, then we're going to just hand it over to our good brother, the people's journalist. I call him all the time, the consummate people's journalist, Deshaun Farad, giving us Our Black World.
Thank you, Hotep Black Power family. Today we celebrate the born day, the 78th birthday of our warrior queen, Sister Assata Shakur, who was a member, of course, of the original Black Panther Party of Self-Defense and the Black Liberation Army. In the late 70s, her and another original Panther, Brother Zaid Shakur, were set up on a freeway in New Jersey. They were framed for killing a police officer. It was a kangaroo court held in Morris County, which led to both of them being locked up. So while Sister Assata was locked down, she had faced all types of psychological torture. Make a long story short, sometime in the early 80s, I believe 80 or 81, the People's Liberation Army, and of course that's what I'm calling them, the People's Rebellion or People's Liberation Army, came and rescued her with a helicopter. They rescued her out of prison, and she eventually ended up in the revolutionary island nation of Cuba, which is headed by our brother Fidel Castro. She's been there ever since. Unfortunately, every year in New Jersey, usually the bounty on her head is raised, and she's also considered, she was put on the federal terrorist list thanks to our brother, who so many black folks still worship, President Barack Obama. This past Saturday, when I was in New York City, I was in Harlem. Members of the New York chapter of the original Black Panther Party, which is headed, of course, by, among others, Brother Bullwhip and Brother Shep, had a documentary at the People's Church on East 111th Street and Lexington Avenue. This was on Saturday. They had a documentary discussing Sister Asada. This sister has been in exile for well over 40 decades. And so, definitely look her up. She's all over YouTube in case you may not be aware of her. This sister right here is what Dr. John Henry Clark was speaking about when he told us that we need to study the history of the Black warrior queens of Africa. For those of you who may not know, she was the adopted aunt of our brother Tupac Shakur, of course, whose parents were in the New York chapter of the Black Panther Party. His mother, Finney, his stepfather, Matula Shakur, and of course, the same chapter that our brother, who's also a friend of GoPro Radio, brother assemblyman / councilman Charles Barron. He was actually in the same chapter as Sister Finney and Asada. He actually knew them. So right now, family, Brother Tyler, that's just about it. And I'm saying that, brother, because of the location where I currently am. It's like a tight spot. No, not a dangerous spot. So I'm going to end the broadcast here, but I'll still be tuned in. Hotep, Black Power, family. Oh, one more thing. Look up the Jericho movement. The Jericho movement discusses the black political prisoners that we've had locked down for decades. As we know, recently, another comrade, of course, of Brother Pete, Sekou Odinga, came home, 2 years ago. Sekou Odinga came home, a member of the original Panther Party. He came home along with Brother Sundiata Okoli. I believe Sekou Odinga is now an ancestor, but Sundiata Okoli, he was actually a part of that arrest with Zaid. So it was actually three of them. It was actually Sister Asada, Sister Zaid Shakur, as well as Brother Sundiata Okoli. They all were stopped on the turnpike in New Jersey. But definitely look at the Jericho movement, because they have a list of all the addresses of all our black political prisoners. And I keep jumping on the case of the National Association of Black Journalists to cover the case of our black political prisoners, definitely including Brother Mumia Abu Jamal. Over 2 weeks ago, there was a program in Philadelphia to bring further attention to his plight. But we need to write to these sisters and brothers. They've literally been locked down, most of them, for at least 50 years. At least 50 years. And of course, all of them were framed by the counterintelligence program of the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, which targeted all black organizations. So once again, we say free them all, free all political prisoners. So, and that's my broadcast, Hotep Black Power.
All right. Thank you for that, man. Free them all. Definitely free Mumia Abu Jamal. I want to also remind everyone that, you can write, and it's very, very extremely important, when people are locked down, to get a letter, and that's something within your power, while we're waiting for their freedom. You can definitely, write to them. And I always encourage people to do that. But definitely free them all. Thank you so much for that report. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And by the way, folks, when we come back, yes, we have here in the house with us Mr. Alberto Concepción. And he has a very important story to tell if you don't know it already. And because we're going to go through this, and we're going to also, hopefully, if we can get to it, we're going to have a Q&A. So folks who are watching us on Facebook, if you want to join us, you're invited. We made it quick, fast, and easy to do so. All you have to do is go to GoProRadio.com, hit the Join Live button, and it'll bring you right into the room, okay? All right, so don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Hi, I'm Shawnee, and whenever I want to listen to something profound and I'm having a moment, I go to GoPro Radio, the fastest growing network in the galaxy.
African Americans have a unique history in this country. There's a legacy of brutal enslavement, economic exploitation, state-sanctioned violence, and deliberate attempts to divide an already fractured people. Bobby Seale said, "The best way to fight racism and oppression is with solidarity." Dr. Ron Christopher Osborne Williams and filmmaker Tylon U. Savior Washington has created a unique online experience where African Americans are not only welcomed, but preferred. A space where the only thing that matters is your blackness. Welcome to the Colored Only Café. With Dashawn Farad giving us our world news, her bro Pete, the Empress Lydia Percy, Sonny B. Sutherland Sr., and you, the black community. Welcome to the Colored Only Café, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong.
Okay, folks, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us once again. I have some great news to share. Manhattan judge exonerated Brian Bowles and Charles Collins. And you can go to the Innocence Project website, and a big shout out to those folks who do some incredible work in that area of exonerations and freeing a lot of the innocent people who are incarcerated. To that end, I want to say that there are exonerations almost now every day, every other day. And each exoneration represents at least 10 to 20 other brothers who just don't have access. The case does not hinge on DNA. There's janky testimony, a lot of prosecutorial misconduct, a lot of it. And there's no outrageous case. I can't think of a more outrageous case than one that you're going to hear now about Alberto Concepción. He's a very special invited guest for today. And he's going to tell you about his case, and you're going to be shocked. You're going to actually see firsthand on this program exhibits showing forged signatures. You're going to see how the government added an unknown powder substance to his case. But before we get to the particular pieces of this really outrageous case, I want you to just meet him. I want to talk to him about who he is as a man, as a person, because these are real human beings. These aren't just numbers. These aren't just faces, and it's like, oh, that's so terrible. It's wrong. The liberal dance, right? A lot of people do. It's horrible. When you pluck these men out of the community, you devastate families, you do real harm to the entire community. You talk about resources, you talk about leadership, and I think after you see and you speak to this man, you'll understand the value that is lost in our community when someone is, like I said, literally stolen from our community and put in one of the most horrible, dehumanizing, degrading, and disgusting places you can probably be on the planet Earth. And that one case is Alberto Concepcion. Welcome, Alberto. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, just unmute yourself. Like I said, I don't want to start with the case just yet. I really want to start with who you are. I want to start a little bit about your story prior to your engagement with law enforcement and in the corrupt criminal, I call it injustice system.
My name is Alberto Concepcion. My email is concepcionalberto383 gmail.com. If anybody want to get in contact with me, my cell number is 201-241-0464. Prior to me being arrested in this fabricated federal court case that I had against me, I had a body shop, painting cars, detailing cars, selling used cars, and things in that nature. Prior to my case, though, since 1998 until 1998, May 6, 1998, I was arrested a minimum of 8 times by the Essex County Prosecutor's Office, who fabricated cases against me, and I beat each and every case in that situation. All cases were eventually dismissed with prejudice, and I even sued them for one of the cases that they put drugs on me. And this was just a personal thing. It was political. I wind up catching my last state case on May 6, 1998.
Let me ask you a question, though, because I think for a lot of audience, see, you have all this information in your head. So I want to just slow it down just a little bit so people can grasp a little bit more of, what is happening here. Because for a lot of folks, not me, but a lot of folks, this is like unbelievable. There's no way. For all the people who think this is unbelievable in no way, can you tell us, why you believe, right? This has happened, and it has happened to you. Why did they strategically target you?
Well, a lot of people know me in the city of Newark, New Jersey as Bert. And, I had nice cars, dressed nice, had businesses and etc. And you had a lot of corrupt Newark police officers, including Essex County Sheriff officers, who were always shaking guys down. And this just became a problem with them not being able to shake me down, because I was stood up. If they had a problem, I call them out. You got a problem? Come holler at me. That's that.
Right.
And they just didn't like it, the aggressiveness and, my
you
attitude.
didn't pay to play. You didn't cooperate, in other words. You wasn't one of those people who bend over. You didn't itch where you didn't scratch. You didn't dance to the music they played, and they would say, okay, we're going to make life difficult for you.
Exactly. And that's what was going on in a 10 years period. Again, I was indicted a minimum of 8 times by the state Essex County Prosecutor's Office. And each case I beat.
And they didn't like that at all.
At all. So come to find out, I was arrested, like I said, May 6, 1998, by 5 Newark police officers. They put drugs in the house. They put bug devices in the house for the FBI XYZ. Long story short, come to find out that the FBI informant, one of them, put the drugs in the house initially for the police officers, which gave me that case. And then while the police officers were in the house, the same FBI informant brought them additional drugs and bug devices to put in the house for the FBI.
Now,
So
to a lot of
everything-
people, hold on. To a lot of people who think that this can't happen, that because we have a lot of folks who really love that. They watch TV, they watch all the crime shows, and the system works. And I got to tell you too, I had a club out in New York City. Matter of fact, I'm glad Sonny is here because him and I were co-owners with another guy. Shout out to the late great Dave Vaughn. And we got shaken down almost all the time, every week. This is a reality that a lot of people are unaware of, that when you have a business in a particular community and people are used to, getting paid off and all this other kind of stuff, they made life extremely difficult for us. They would try to come in and they would fabricate calls. This is a reality. This is not something that, we make up. And then when it happens to people, they go, do you see, this is outrageous. This is business as usual. Policing is done very differently in our communities than it is in perhaps maybe some community that, they actually have some kind of protection. The police have a long history of being oppressive, and we understand that in our community. And they get away with it until they run into people like Alberto, or they run into people like myself or Sonny B. Sutherland. You remember chasing them out of our club plenty of times where they would come in deep, and we said, "Get out! Nobody called you. This is a private affair. This is a private property, and you had to leave." And they didn't like how we were smart and we understood the law. So
Yes.
Alberto, what he's going through is as outrageous as it may and outlandish as it may seem to some. This is a reality, and remember that we're telling you that this stuff happens, and you can see with the exonerations that are happening, and you look into these cases deeper, you will see a connection not only between law enforcement, but law enforcement with the district attorney, all the way up to the judges. So okay,
Yes.
so continue with your case.
So what winds up happening is that on May 6, 98, I was arrested by 5 Newark police officers. Long story short, my federal investigation started May 1st, 1998, 6 days after the Newark police gave me a case. Once again, the FBI informant, come to find out, was the one that put the drugs initially in the house. And then when the officers were in the house, he came back and gave them more drugs to put in the house, including the bug devices for the FBI. All this came about afterwards. 19 months later, which was December 15th, 1999, I was arrested by an agent and Essex County Sheriff narcotics officer. And I was booked on drug charges of 5-count indictment, 2 against me. They charged me with the 21 USC 841A and 846, which is the conspiracy under the federal law. In short, the drug statutes are known as a matter of law to be false, fraudulent, and unconstitutional. While I was in the prison system, I taught myself the law. So I'm very familiar with certain aspects of how to litigate. Long story short, I wind up getting sentenced on the July 7th of 2000. First time offender, they gave me 325 months, which is 27 years and 1 month of federal imprisonment. No violence, no guns, no nothing. Nothing in the case when they did their,
Oh, okay. Now, I know this is going to sound like a crazy question to you because we know that the kind of attorneys that they give you, and people don't understand that attorneys are all in on it. It's like a performative kind of situation. Go ahead.
I had a paid attorney, Thomas R. Ashley, the worstest guy ever, sold me out.
Yeah.
He was a paid attorney that we had from Newark. His name was Tom R. Ashley, and like I said, the guy just sold me out. In my book, now that I look at it again, if I knew what I knew now today, I would have never went to prison.
And because you had a history, and that's the whole thing. You had a history of this harassment that
Right.
it would have been plain for people with 20/20 vision to see that there's something very strange here, and they don't do that, and they not only sell us out a lot of times, the attorneys. And we have an advocate here on the panel, Sonny B. Sutherland. He's always pushing for people to go pro se to try to represent themselves, and they have a better shot. Divine G also, when he represented himself, he got much further. Am I correct with that, Divine G?
Absolutely. I mean, believe it or not, a lot of times those court-appointed lawyers work in conjunction with the court and the DA. They just an extension of the court and the DA. They work in hand. And oftentimes you have no choice but to actually litigate on your own, because then you don't have to worry about somebody sidelining your defense and hiding and sabotaging things. So, yeah.
Crucial evidence that can exonerate or could even get you away. They don't advocate. That's by design. It's a business, and we have to always remember that.
Yes. And in one of the cases in my state fabricated case, they wind up giving me a check for $30,000. I got it here so everybody can see it. This is the city of North.
No, turn it around. Okay, yeah. No, the other way, so we can see.
Which way?
No, turn it to your right a little bit. Okay. No, it's upside down now.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. That's perfect. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a check from the city of Newark. They compensated me for my false imprisonment.
You see that?
which at the time, you know, I wasn't chasing money.
30,000.
Like,
That's an insult.
you
That should have been at least 30 million at the very.
Well,
That's an
again, this was
insult.
just for one case that they fabricated against me in the state.
Right.
Everything I'm stating here today, especially my federal case, I have it in black and white. These documents were created by the U.S. Attorney's Office and at the United States District Court in Newark, New Jersey. In short, again, as I'm doing my research, I initially never got a copy of my criminal complaint or an arrest warrant that I was looking for, like at minimum 2 years when I was initially arrested in my Fed case.
Can you explain
Now
to
that
the
I
audience
understand
why
the
that's
law.
important? Because a lot of times we have these elevated conversations, and I don't want to lose people. Because it's very important
He's
that
telling me I'm looking at a 5 to 40 when the indictment was only a 0 to 20 year max. Going to trial or taking a plea. Because when somebody's charged under 841A1, it falls under the catch-all 841B1C, which is a 0 to 20 year max, regardless of if it was a million keys of whatever type of drug it was. My case was a heroin case. So as I'm doing my research, teaching myself freedom of information, XYZ, come to find out that I have 28 signatures of the magistrate judge's name, which was Ronald J. Hedges, all misspelled, especially a signature with a stamp that I've been arguing forever.
Yeah, let's see that.
And trying to get into court. This is the criminal complaint in my case. Can you see the whole thing?
Yeah, I can see the whole thing. It's on the side, but I can see the whole thing. I can see the signatures. We can see the most important parts, and
The important part is this one right here, which is where my finger is at.
Yeah.
The signature. So what I wind up doing is I'm learning the law in the law library. I wind up enlarging that same signature, and it winds up being the signature right here. If you could see it, whoever did the stamp signature forgot to put the D in his last name. And this document came straight from the United States Attorney's Office, faxed to one of my co-defendants' attorneys.
And that's how they really manipulate and use the law in a way where they use those technicalities to avoid responsibility.
Well, the thing about this is when I argued this in the court initially on a 2255, I argued it and the judge was addressing the agent's signature not being there, which wasn't the argument. The argument was that somebody used a forged felony stamp signature of the magistrate judge's name to issue this criminal complaint in the arrest warrant in this case.
Wow, it's crazy.
So in short, we talking about federal courts in Newark, not a state court, so this is just a different animal that you're dealing with now, Again, I have 28 signatures. 5 of them are from 5 other unrelated federal criminal cases at the Newark, New Jersey District Court that had nothing to do with my case. And same judge, in some cases, same
they're messing with you.
agent.
Can you repeat that? Because you froze up on my screen. Can you repeat that again, please?
That I have 28 signatures in total. I hired the private. I had initially 20 that I was getting because these documents, the criminal complaints and arrest warrants were public records. So anybody with a name or case number could walk to the clerk's office in Newark, New Jersey, and ask for a criminal complaint and arrest warrant, which I was retrieving through my family to get additional signatures. Once they noticed what I was doing, all that went to a complete stop. So I wound up retaining a private investigator from New York, and he was able to get me another 8 signatures from the same magistrate judge, all misspelled. So what happens is that this judge resigned in April 10th, 2007. When he resigned, they sealed all his cases because I was filing, complaints to the Justice Department.
How convenient. Go ahead.
Yes, exactly. I was filing a complaint to the Office of Professional Responsibility and other agencies requesting for a special counsel. So initially they told me I don't have enough evidence to prove my situation, which at the time I didn't. Years after, during the time in prison, I wind up retrieving, like I said, 28 signatures, provided it to them, and now they come in with, well, if you overturn your conviction, then we'll do an investigation XYZ, which was, a bunch of bullcrap.
It's just more delays, more shenanigans. I happen to know that, because I'm working on a film about a wrongful convictions called, Disappearing Freedom. Matter of fact, it's almost finished. In Divine's case, what they do is they do this thing called through ambush. They give you a bunch of papers at the last minute.
Yes. Most of mine I got through freedom
by ambush.
Yeah, most of mine I got through freedom of information. As I'm learning the law, I'm getting documents that I shouldn't have had got, but I was getting documents. And the documents showing that the judge, because they're trying to say he didn't resign, they're trying to say he retired. But I have this from the website, which somebody got from me during my incarceration, stating that he resigned and not retired, like they're trying to claim he did. But in any event, whether you retire or resign,
right,
they seal nobody's cases, a judge's cases. They don't do that. It's unheard of. And the problem is that if I get into court with the argument, now they have to release a minimum of 10,000 men and women in the federal system just because of one person. And that one person happens to be me. So what they wind up doing is putting a restraining order on me, stating that I'm an abusive filer and that I fabricated the evidence. But if I fabricate
wait. So they brought in they said, he's an abusive father. He had a traffic violation. He didn't get an A in his kindergarten class. It's like they just were digging up all kinds of stuff, huh?
Yeah. Exactly, because I'm learning the law and I'm filing my own pro se documentation with the exhibits that they created, that they use on my direct appeal to the Supreme Court and everything. And I even got 2 conference determination hearings at the United States Supreme Court pro se. Even though they eventually wind up denying me, I got in. It's like unheard of, Another issue that I came up with, that another issue I find out with their own documentation was the drug calculation chart, which is clearly showing that they added 112.72 grams of an unknown powdered substance, in my case, in order to indict me and my 5 co-defendants on 100 grams or more of heroin. There's no lab reports for these documents or these specified days that they're accusing me of selling to the FBI informant.
Now, I think it's very important for people to know that when these things happen, a lot of people don't have that wherewithal, that fight, that, this is wrong. A lot of people just say, you know what, I'm here. I don't have money. I don't have resources. A lot of folks, believe it or not, when I tell you, because I've interviewed a lot of folks who have been incarcerated and stuff like, they don't have even 3rd grade, 4th grade reading levels. These people are preyed upon. It's strategic how they do these things. They get people who might have a little record. They may have people who do little things, and what they do is they manipulate it so much so that it makes it almost impossible to even get justice. So first of all, I want to applaud you for your valiant fight and struggle. People don't understand how often this kind of stuff happens. When you see Alberto Concepción, a man whose life was upended by what appears to be a straight up fabricated federal criminal charge. You got to say to yourself, is this a mistake? It's a vendetta, or deliberate targeting of a man caught in a web of prosecutorial power, and I would say this include racial bias.
Yes, this is the drug calculation chart. So if somebody wants to look at it, this is just the first page of it. Could you see the whole thing?
Yeah. Now, do you have a website where people can also Cedar, do you have a GoFundMe?
I'm not computer sassy, so I go through my nephews and nieces. And this is the second page where it says that out of the 5 codependents, I was the one that sold the most alleged heroin in the case. So this is how I was able to determine that they added 112.72 grams of an unknown powder substance in order to indict me and 5 codependents on 100 grams or more heroin. But they sentenced me for 3 to 10 keys of heroin, which took me out of my max from a 0 to 20 to the 5 to 40 and gave me 27 years in a month, which I did 20 years plus 6 months halfway house plus 5 years supervised release, which I just finished a month and a half ago. So it's, technically they gave me 32 years in a month, nonviolent case, no guns, no drugs, no nothing, fabrication of evidence.
You know, as the details unfold, I mean, I think anyone, you know, with a fair-minded person, you got to ask this chilling question. You know, how many more Concepcions are sitting in cells? Silenced by the system?
Many. Because I know a lot of guys that I was doing time with in there doing life sentences for ghost drugs. You know, and again, the statutes are known as a matter of law to be false, fraudulent, and unconstitutional. It's easy to prove. So I just, through my freedom of information, which is one page right here, I'm going to show you and read to you real quick because, you know, I'm trying to cover everything. It's stated from a chief operating unit personnel, despite the fact that the request and plaintiff is currently incarcerated in the federal prison system, there is no record of an arrest or conviction for any federal offense contained in the NCIC, NADDIS, or the investigating DEA records. Further investigation by the DEA states that do not indicate any entry after June 10th, 1997. My case was from 98 to 99. So there's no entry of nothing. There's no record of me doing 27 years in a month in the federal system, according to the Freedom of Information DEA.
So they just erased that reality.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a fact. They actually did that in my case. Excuse me for interjecting. The individual that testified falsely against me, he had tried to cut a deal with ATF, the feds, and when I did my Freedom of Information Act request, they actually said that there was no documentation of this man having an interview, despite the fact I got an audio tape confession with the man on the tape, exonerating me on the tape and saying that it was him and a man named Patrick from Queens that did it, and specifically told him I had nothing to do with it. And but yet when I went and did the for you like you did, they got no records of this. They don't know this agent name. The agent's name was Bob Hamilton. We had his name. We knew the whole agent, but they claim they have no records of it.
Well, I got to tell you guys something really funny that happened when I was in the federal court for Sonny B. Sutherland when he was fighting for his children. They had an army. When I say an army of attorneys, they had maybe something, I would probably say anywhere from 12 to 15 attorneys standing around the desk with all their expensive suit. And I remember Sotomayor, what's the lady? She's a Supreme Court judge. She was a panel of on the judge. And do you know what they did while he got his case? They act like they didn't even know the case. They stood around with their arms up like, why? We don't, Your Honor, we don't even know why we're here. I don't know if you remember that. I was like dumbfounded. I was like, wait, what? You know, what is going on? They play these games, and people who don't know, people who watch these television programs with these celebrity stars and all that, talking like they're fighting for justice, they're the criminals. This is criminal, what's happening. When you take an innocent man. So we got to take a quick break, and when we come back, you know, tonight, folks, who are just listening to this, we are dissecting the anatomy of a frame-up. And we are examining what it means to be criminalized, not by your actions, but by your identity. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. This is the Color and Only Cafe, where you know the conversation always is going to be hot, black, and strong. And we're talking, and we're providing with you a case. Because when we tell people to say, look at us like we're crazy, right, Divine? Like, what are you talking about? You know? Yeah. And so I think why his case is so important, Divine's case is so important, all these cases are important, but it's like, Here's the receipts. These are the receipts, living receipts, human beings who are living this. Oh, okay, I got to sign. We got to go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Colored Only Café, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong.
Hard to believe that we are already an hour into our program. Once again, I want to encourage folks that if you like and you want to ask some questions, you can come on in. You're invited. This is a safe space. Free Speech Radio is back, and it's black, and it's here for us. And we're having a conversation about wrongful convictions and how they happen. And we have one of the most outrageous cases. And I want to say, I'm working on film. And something that Divine said in the film, it's very, very important that they do this because they can, because they get away with it all the time. They do this like it's natural. Like, it's and what it is the propaganda. On the other hand, there's always, you ever see, like, you can't escape cop shows, and they show the cops going after the bad guy. They don't show the cops as the bad guy.
Exactly.
You don't. So this, to a lot of people, is shocking. So this is why it's important that the media is involved, because this is the only way. They're like roaches. Once you turn on the light, then they scatter. All of a sudden, things disappear.
Exactly.
And they hide.
Yes.
So the media is very, very important, and in terms of at least getting justice. Let's shine a light on these roaches. And I see that my good friend Caltaze Ransom, who's an incredible filmmaker. As a matter of fact, he's a writer. He has so many accolades, and he has an event. I want to pop in. I want to take a little break into action and have him pop in and talk about this event that's happening this Saturday, the 19th. It's a play that he wrote along with another sister that he gets together, and he's always putting together these productions. He's working on film projects. This guy's always working, and so it's always great to see him pop in on here. How you doing, Caltaze?
I'm good. It's just been busy.
Man, I know. That's why I'm surprised. I'm like, oh wow, okay, great. So your event is happening this Saturday.
This Saturday at 6 p.m. And
That's
you
right.
mentioned the wrongful convictions and the wrongful arrest.
Mm-hmm.
That's a subject that's briefly mentioned in this play as well.
Wow.
By my character, because I myself have been wrongfully arrested, which I talked about before when my cast was on here.
Well, can we talk about it just a little bit, just real briefly? Talk about that, because people don't see. If we don't speak about it, right? People just think it doesn't happen, because remember, they're inundated with television, that now the internet and everything, and the police just there to protect you. They're so good, and they're and all this other kind of stuff. But we feel the sting of the lash, and people don't understand that. They get away with this stuff all the time. They're the real, drugs don't get into our community. Matter of fact, there was a very good movie with Renner talks about how the drugs, they actually went into how the drugs were introduced in our communities, and with the cooperation of law enforcement.
Right. They do target us. That's not a myth. That's not a so-called conspiracy theory, which I hate that word. Because how did that even become a term?
Right.
It became a term because they actually do conspire against us. They've been doing it and they haven't stopped. But they target us. They actually have a quota, a racist quota to arrest Black people. So years ago, as a really young actor, I just came home from a rehearsal for a play. I was hungry. I didn't feel like cooking. So I called in an order to a carryout that was literally 2 blocks away from where I lived at the time. So I waited a few minutes and I walked around there, and there was a bus stop in front of the carryout. And there was like 4 younger Black guys that I know, 4 Black guys that was my age. One of them, I only know like 2 of them. one of them, he sings and stuff like I do. So like I said earlier, like I said the last time, we both like to play The Wiz, right? And we like the song Be a Lion. So he wanted us to both start singing Be a Lion out on the street corner. I'm like, man, I'm just trying to just go pay for my food and go home. So as I was saying that, one other brother walked up that lived in my block. And that made it was 6 of us out there. So this white cop pulls up. So I guess he figured that he hit the jackpot because he saw 6 young black guys in one spot. So he asked them if they were waiting for the bus. They told him, yeah, they were waiting for the bus. He said that they were lying because he claimed he drove around there several times that night and that they were out there for a long period of time. Well, even if that's true, they weren't bothering anybody. They were just sitting on the bus stop, cutting up, laughing and talking. So I figured he wasn't talking to me because he said he drove around there several times that night. So I walked away to go in the carry out and pay for my food and take my black ass home. He came in behind me. He told me to come back outside. I said, but why, officer? I haven't done anything wrong. I just came around here to pick up my order. I ran into somebody I know outside and I stopped to speak on my way in. You said you drove around here several times tonight, then you couldn't have seen me. I just got here. He said, either you can go, either you can go the easy way or the hard way, right? I said, but I haven't done anything wrong, and you know that I haven't done anything wrong. I literally live 2 blocks away from here, and I just came around here to get my food. And so he said it again. Either you can go the easy way or the hard way. Okay, so I suffered a brain injury as a child, and at this time in my young adulthood, I was on a seizure medication called Dilantin, and I told him that I was on the seizure medication and I didn't have my medicine with me as it was at my apartment. So instead of him showing any concern for my life and my health, you know, he took both of his hands and he grabbed me around my throat. He took both of his hands and violently grabbed me around my throat. And his exact words were, "I'll make you have a fucking seizure if you don't do what I say." So that bastard put those handcuffs on me and put me in the paddy wagon with the rest of the brothers. And when he got to the police station with his coworkers, they were laughing, having a good old time. And I remember him saying this. I will never forget. His exact words were, "Oh yeah, I got me a lot of them tonight. I made my quota. I like to keep the boss happy." And then him and his coworkers proceeded to laugh. So you disrupt my life. You physically assault me for a fucking racist quota. You knew that, and none of us had done anything wrong, right? So that's very real. And what pisses me off is in the past when I've talked to some black people about that, they have this, some black people have this attitude like, well, what did you do wrong? Right?
Yeah.
You must have did something. You must have did something for that to happen. No, I didn't do shit wrong, which is something else that comes out in the play.
Sure.
Because one of the other characters in the play say, well, what did you do? You must have did something wrong, right? So
that's a condition.
So this play is very real. It talks about religion and stuff too, and being brainwashed and indoctrinated, and we have a couple of whitewashed characters in this play as well that my character gets into it with. You know, my character's kind of an instigator too, sort of. But it's a very good play.
But by the way, is the play going to be recorded? You know, so people can see. Are you guys going to be, having?
I have a brother coming to film the play.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Because unfortunately, I'm not going to be able. I was going to surprise you. That was going to be the surprise.
Oh man!
I know. But guess what? We're sending folks down there. It's going to be really good. Bertie told me that maybe Dr. Ron may be there with some other folks.
Already hit me up. Dr. Ron said that he was coming with 2 other people.
Oh, okay, great.
And I know that, I'm not sure if he is or not, but I know Quinn, when he saw me post a clip of me doing a radio interview about the play, he said that he was going to come or try to come. So Quinn Austin might be here too.
Right.
Might come too. So.
Well, I'm going to tell you folks, he's one of my favorite directors, and if you don't, I don't know what you're doing with your life if you have not seen the Eternal Extra. It's a phenomenal film, one of my favorites. So try to look that up. It's out there somewhere. Look it up. Check it out. Really, really great film, especially if you're interested in getting into the showbiz world. But we count on people in the media to tell a different story. I tell everyone, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a new Superman movie. It's propaganda. All the media that comes out is propaganda. And we need to have our own machines producing our own counter propaganda to tell people the reality, like Divine G's story, Alberto Concepción, because they are not the only ones.
You
There are many
know,
people. These are the fighters.
well, you know, Tamika, my associate, who I co-wrote this play with, and we're also both in the play. It's 13 characters in the play. But she was telling me, because she wouldn't tell me the people's name, of course, because she think I'm going to confront them. I'm not going to confront them, though. But there were some people that we both know that started inboxing her when we started advertising this play. And they say, oh, I see you doing a play with Cortez. I know he wearing you out with all that pro-black stuff, right? And she said, well, what do you mean wearing me out? What's wrong with being pro-black? We supposed to be pro-black, right? You know, and so we had an interview on another podcast where we were actually all in the same location with the host on camera. And I looked in the camera and I said to those people who was inboxing my girl talking about, you know, all this me being about all this pro-black stuff. I said, well, if your ass is black, you should be pro-black too.
That's right. How are you not going to be pro yourself? You see, exactly. and that's what I'm saying. That's the power of propaganda. That's
that indoctrination and all.
Right.
Yeah. And all that's mentioned in the play.
Right. Right. So, folks, the name. Give them the name of the place and the name and the place and how they can get tickets.
Okay. Well, the name of the play is Between Us. It's at a location here in Baltimore called the House of Chiefs, which is ran by a sister by the name of Eartha Harris. It's at 4603 York Road in Baltimore, Maryland. And the tickets are $30. You can either hit me up at what's that number? It's a 27027. I gotta look at the damn number again. I'll put it in the chat.
Well, we're gonna have the flyer up on the GoPro Radio Network. So go to GoPro Radio Network.
You can also get tickets at the door as well.
Right. And I'm telling you, everything this guy does is excellent. Very good. So you're going to be surprised. You're going to have a really good time there. And you're going to also learn some things. And what he does, he's really committed to the upliftment and committed to this unique, I think, challenge that we have. And today, just kind of like shaking people up. And that's why we have the Colored Only Café. And we're grateful that we have all of these people who I think are really part of the warrior class of our people who are just unafraid. We don't care about the odds. We care about what is true and we care about what is right. We have a man who is actually and factually innocent, Alberto Concepcion, and he's showing you, he's bringing the receipts. He's showing us documentation. So, you know, this is not theory.
Yeah, I got something else I want to show before the show ends.
Yeah, we got time, brother. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
To everybody. This is, as you already know, the FBI did my investigation against me, which sent me to jail. But the DEA did the drug testing, the alleged drug testing for the FBI. And these are receipts from the DEA, which my name on it. It says 400 bags of alleged heroin. You see the number here?
Right. I can see it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once they tested it, it came back to right here, my name here. And then it says no drug residue.
Wow.
That's just one. On this specified date as well. This is my name, the date of the events.
Right.
January 25th, 1999, I believe it states. At this specified date, I happen to be out of the state in North Carolina, but they placed me in Jersey, making this alleged heroin sale. But in any event, the DA report was right here, no drug residue in the bags that the alleged heroin came at. It was never no heroin, no drugs. This is why we can't find no lab.
So so in other words, you went to jail for phantom drugs.
Pretty much, because the feds don't pick up a
terrible.
case. Yeah, the feds don't pick up a case unless it's 100 grams or more heroin.
Right.
And with me and my 5 co-defendants, it was 31.8 grams total. Never had over 100. But in the case, I was supposedly the one that sold the most heroin in the case. And again, the lab reports show different because there's no lab reports, but based on the government's FD 192 forms are clearly stating that the alleged heroin that they received from the FBI that they purchased directly from me is no drug residue. So you're charging me for an unknown powder substance. So based on the documentation, the drug calculation chart, you added 112.72 grams of an unknown powder substance to the case to indict me and 5 co-defendants on 100 grams or more heroin.
Wow.
And then come to find out that one of the federal prosecutors was a loaner from the Essex County Prosecutor's Office to the U.S. Attorney's Office, where they prosecute me a minimum of 8 times, which I never knew till years after my conviction.
Folks who are just listening in, who's popping in.
And I just felt.
No, there's some people who are just there's some people who are just popping in. I just want to let them know what they're listening to on Facebook, people who are just listening in. And, this is a very compelling and powerful podcast that we're doing here on the Colored Only Cafe. We're focusing on Alberto Concepcion and all the allegations that his federal criminal case was fabricated. He is showing receipts here. And this episode will center on themes of injustice, systematic corruption, and wrongful persecution, particularly how these patterns affect brown and black men in America. And the fabrication of Alberto Concepcion's case is not uncommon. This is the thing. He's just bold enough. He's not laying down, folks. He's not just taking it on the chin. He's standing up. And what his advocacy will do will inspire other people to say, hey, if you're innocent, stand up and fight. Educate yourself. He's freeing himself. He didn't have the support of lawyers. He don't have big dollars and big money. He said, no, this is wrong. And he said, I'm not having it. He should have to show I'm not having it. And so first of all, I want to applaud you for your courageous position and stance. But I think where the truth disappears, I think you're hollering for justice, and that's good. So tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is more than about this one man. It's about a system. It's about a strategy, and it's a story that I think, and I hate to say it, it's told too many times to me. That's why I'm doing this film. Look for it. It's called Disappearing Freedom: The Decline of Justice. And we're pulling the curtains back on the case of Alberto Concepcion today, so that when people look at me like they get that glazed look, like, yeah, well, it's a problem. It's not that pervasive. There's always chinks in the system. There's always chinks in the system, and it's the best system in the world. I've heard people tell me this. I mean, as I'm doing this film, and I'm saying, you've seen Alberto Concepcion. He's a man whose life was upended by what is a clear-cut, fabricated federal criminal charge. It's not a mistake. It's a vendetta. It's deliberate. It's a targeting of a man who's like really caught in the web of all this prosecutorial power and racial bias, by the way. And as the details unfold, as you'll see, you're going to be asking yourself this thing that haunts or should be haunting any decent person who's listening to this: how many more people are sitting in the jail cells, right, that are silenced by the system?
That's true. I've been with many. Many. You got men and women doing life sentences for ghost drugs just on government informants or, he say, she say thing. No evidence at all. That's the sad part about the whole thing.
There's a case that I know where this one woman, she witnessed in New York City like 6 murders. I mean, can you imagine? Some of us don't witness one in our lifetime, but she's always used. They get these informants who are people who are on drugs, crackheads and other people who and they people don't understand that they use these people in many, many cases. To come in and they say that, oh, I saw this, I did this, and they set people up because they want to have cases and put a lot of, whenever it's politically convenient, let's put some drugs on the table and say we got a bad guy. Meanwhile, they're the bad guys.
Right. They're getting promotions, they're getting bonuses, and etc. And this is, like they sleep good at night, but they just don't understand. It's sooner or later that karma's coming back to them. Whether it's to us or, you know, the God. You feel me?
Right.
They gotta, deal with this situation sooner or later, regardless of how you dress it up.
Well, let me
And
ask
just
you
people just go ahead.
before we open it up, because I know folks are, want to ask questions. Um,
Go ahead. Yes.
what role do confidential informants and plea deals play in fabricating or exaggerating charges? This is for you, Divine, Coltes, anybody who wants to answer on the panel.
Well, one of the informants in my case received $30,000 for his case for cooperating, and he had 4 state pending cases, which he was sentenced to a 4-year prison term, and he never did a day in state prison. But what happened with his situation was the same police officers that were arresting me and fabricating cases against me was going into his apartment illegally, no warrants, XYZ, built up numerous cases on him and wind up flipping him and made him an FBI informant. And this is how these people work. They just,
Well, let me ask you another question. Why is accountability for like federal prosecutors and just people in general in law enforcement? Why is the accountability so rare? And even when misconduct is exposed, why, in your view? I mean, I know the answer, but why, in your view, is there no accountability for federal prosecutors in law enforcement?
Well, they had a thing I was reading when I was in prison about prosecutors and federal prosecutors in Florida, and they set one guy up, put drugs on him. He had businesses, clubs, XYZ or whatever, selling clothes. Everything was legit. They wind up setting him up. Long story short, gave him, I think, 20, 30 years. And the judge, he must have had a fair judge, noticed that the evidence was tampered with somehow. The judge winds up throwing the entire case out, and the prosecutor winds up getting charged for through an ethics committee for misconduct. But he was suspended only for 1 year. No jail time, no loss of job or nothing. So,
so he come back as a judge.
Well, he did come back as a judge, but I believe he continued to be a prosecutor, federal prosecutor, after his year suspension. And these guys just get slapped in the hand and everything's fine and dandy.
Right.
You don't see any. Another major problem is that prosecutors have what is called absolute immunity.
Yes.
As long as they
that's what I
engage
was about to say.
these misconducts, as long as they engage in them in the capacity as a prosecutor, they have absolute immunity, which means they can practically go in there. I mean, they can't. They can literally go in there, commit crimes, put people in crimes that they did not do, knowingly present false testimony, knowingly fabricate evidence, willfully suborn perjury. I'm talking about committing crimes intentionally, and they cannot be touched. So when you have something like that in place, you encourage this. You encourage dangerous behavior. You promote it. You elevate it. Because imagine you being in a situation where nothing is going to happen to me if I commit wrongs. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to do more and more wrongs. But what's happening now is that there's an uprise against this. It's a case called Embler versus Patchington. It's a U.S. Supreme Court case that set in motion this whole absolute immunity for prosecutors. Their theory is that prosecutors need absolute immunity so that when they prosecute these cases, they can prosecute them zealously and effectively without any distractions and all this other madness. But the problem with that is because racism is inherently built into the system, it automatically puts us in a very, very dangerous position. Because imagine you're a racist judge or racist prosecutor, and all these people got this internal built-in self-hatred for black folks. We gonna always catch a raw deal in every court system. My case, man, I mean, they had a blatant informant who cooperated in 5 other homicide cases. This man had a history of just seeing homicides, just made up nonsense. And at the time when he made this up, he was in jail for possession of burglary and possession of crack. Lo and behold, that whole case just disappeared.
Of
The
course.
minute he decided to become a fabricated witness against me, it just disappeared.
Yep.
So yes, they use these informants constantly.
Yeah, the informants for life.
Yeah. So, folks, we got to take another quick break. But when we come back, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Concepcion, and also everybody who want to chime in, Sean, Divine, we're going to open up the microphones. I want to talk a little bit about what emotional and psychological toll all of this, do fabricated charges take on individuals, your families, and the community. After we come right back. So think about that while we take this quick commercial break. Folks, you tuned into the Colored Only Cafe, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong. We'll be right back.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, business, talent, and or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 646-415-0990 or go to www.goproradio.com. That's www.goproradio.com. You'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Welcome to the Colored Only Cafe, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong.
Okay, folks. We are down to our last segment, half hour. Before we went to the break here, asked the question directly to Alberto Concepción, but I would love to get the feedback also from Divine and Caltes and Sean and other people here who have, been caught in the snares of this so-called, law enforcement folks. And we've all had, challenges. And I remember getting a jaywalking ticket for $500. I mean, I kid you not. But I want to talk a little bit about how the emotional and psychological toll, due to these kinds of fabricated charges take on the individuals, how it impacts the family. Because people, when you see Alberto here, you see a singular man, but he has family, nieces, nephews, cousins, children, friends. We don't look at how one human being is connected to so many people, and we don't think about the emotional and psychological toll that it has on him, his family, and his communities. People he would see, people that that would say, "Hey, can you help me out with this, that, and the other? I'm moving in. So and so's getting married," and we have a community consciousness, right, amongst us. And when somebody is plucked, just one person, it has a rippling effect. So I would like to talk about that a little bit, Alberto. I'd like to talk about how this has impacted you and your family and your community.
Yeah, it was hard. It was stressful. You're doing all this time without knowing if you're going to be able to cut that time down somehow, some way, which I did 15 months, pro se. I had a lot of family that passed away during my incarceration, couldn't be there to support my mother when her parents passed away. It was just crazy. It's just overwhelming, and there's nothing you could do about it because it ain't like you can leave prison or have the guards take you to the funeral, wait to XYZ. They don't do that in the Fed system unless you're in a camp, So it was just first time ever in prison. It was the first few years was rough for me, but I made it my business to take myself to a law library every day for 8-9 years straight, all day, every day, and learned the law, understand it, and fight for my freedom, regardless of what it was, even though the obstacles were all against me.
Do you have children?
I had one. He was 10 years old when I went in. Like I said, I did 20 years, so he was 30 and some change when I came out.
Wow.
And it was rough on him. Period.
Mm-hmm. And then were you married? What prior to going in? And,
I wasn't married, but I was going to get engaged, and she was there with me 7 years, and I had to tell her, I'm doing a lot of time, so you can't just stop your life because I'm here and you're out there, whatever the case may be. Not I wind up just cutting her off, letting her loose.
Right. What about your brothers and sisters?
Oh, they were supportive. My family were there, constant visits. It was hard on my mother out of all people, but
of course.
because I was the first child in the family in prison like this, out of 6. And it's rough. I mean, you don't gotta, I have family that are law enforcement, so it ain't like all cops are bad, but you got a few good ones out there, but you got a lot of bad cops out there.
But where are they? I keep hearing it all the time, and I see cops violating people's rights, and other cops are there standing by, or matter of fact, joining in. I mean, I see blatant. I mean, you just go on YouTube, and you can just see people's rights are being violated, snatched out of cars, all kinds, and there's cops all around. Where are these good cops?
You got a few, but like I said, you got more bad than good, and the bad ones mess it up with the good ones. I've ran into a few myself since I've been home, and I haven't been harassed in them because I understand the law now. You're not gonna beat me in the head with anything no more.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But I still look at myself as a target, regardless of how you look at it. Because once they hear the name, they know who this guy is.
Yeah, but
they record check me.
But this
when I get pulled over. They already know my record.
Alberto.
Yeah.
This is what I want people to leave with, right? That this can happen to you.
Anybody.
Stop thinking that, it's just Alberto. What did he did? Like when Coltes, the lady said that, what was you doing? Like,
but you know the problem, if I may jump in. First of all, I want to say one thing. People are going to see the movie Superman, which is a fantasy to a lot of degree, because the real Superman is Alberto, is Divine G, is Momia, is all these people that are fighting against the system.
And you.
Well, okay, and
not all heroes have capes, right? I mean, what you did was like you went all the way to the Supreme. You didn't hear that part. I think you were away, but
I heard it.
You had a panel of what do you call attorneys. I was there. I was in the courtroom, folks. I saw it with my own 2 eyes, and I was like, and he was by himself. He didn't have another representative. Sonny was by himself on the left-hand side of the courtroom. On the right-hand side of the courtroom was anywhere from, like, I think 10 to 12, 13 maybe attorneys, all dressed in very expensive suits, cufflinks, all that other kind of stuff, in the federal court. And they act like they didn't know why they were even there. Do you remember that, Sonny?
Yes, I remember it very well. But the point I wanted to make is that we have to deprogram ourselves from the propaganda that was taught to us in school. School only taught us to be a smarter slave, not to be an individual that knows their rights and how to defend ourselves.
Or to be critical or analytical.
Right, absolutely. They just want us to follow their instructions. Now, this whole justice system is a game. It's their game. It's their people. Okay, the judges, the attorneys, the social workers. It's all a game. They use us so they can continue to get paid, and that's all it is. It's a business, and it's a terrible business. And we think that we're going to go into court and get justice. No. It don't happen that way. If it happens, it's only by accident. Okay? Only by accident. So anybody walking into court thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna get justice. I'm just gonna tell the truth. The judge is gonna believe me because I'm telling the truth." Oh, really? It's more money to incarcerate you than it is to let you go.
Yep.
And most of the people, I've never been to prison, but I do know most of the people in prison are innocent.
Yes. Yes.
And they've been set up.
It's the art of manipulation through the laws. And that's the game. That's the business part of it.
Yep.
And the most of the cops or officers that's standing around while these other guys do what they do, it's a hierarchy. The people that's doing the bad are over those guys that's standing around. Believe me.
In most
guys
cases,
want to do something about it, but they know that they're going to be reprimanded.
Yep.
Given low evals, but I'm thinking your evaluation compared to someone's life, it doesn't equate. I don't care what system you're in, how you're looking at it. It's about you as a person.
Yeah, yeah.
Who you are as a person.
Yeah, I always hear that it's I'm doing my job, and I'm like, well, didn't you take an oath to the bullshit Constitution? Why won't why don't you uphold that? To me, it's a selective. They know what they're doing. They're cowards. They're cowards. Anybody who sees something wrong and they don't say anything because they're thinking about themselves and their jobs, that's cowardice. You need to be put. You need. Right. You know what? If I commit a crime and Sonny's with me or Alberto is with me, they get the same charge.
Exactly. Right?
So if you're standing around and you took an oath of the Constitution and you see somebody summarily breaking the Constitution and you're silent, you're not only you're not only a chump, but you're a coward and you're a traitor to your race. But anyway, Brother Pete hand is up. I want to hear from Bro Pete because his hand is actually up. Bro Pete, you're on.
All power to the people.
Power to the people, brother. Black laws for black people.
Brother, I was going to ask you, are you doing anything? And if so, what are you doing to reverse this process or combat this process? And how can you be supported in your efforts of doing so?
This question is for who?
You.
Well, I was trying to get the news media involved or newspaper reporter, somebody involved.
Good luck.
I think if I can get that, I think I can get that off because out of 102 pages of exhibits that I got, 101 of them came directly from the court and or the U.S. Attorney's Office, Freedom of Information, XYZ. And these documents, you can't say we didn't create them because you did create them. You used them to convict me, and you used them on my appeals, XYZ. And now that I figured out what was actually done illegally, and I'm using them against them, it's like nobody want to accept responsibility.
That's right.
The things
They never will.
The things that you learned, are you using them to help others in your situation that you was put into?
Well, I'm not a person that usually, I don't hang out. I don't conversate too much, but if I can help somebody in a situation, I will. It's like, I've been telling people, whether I'm wrong for it or not, I've been trying to help Sean Combs, P. Diddy in his situation. And if I can get in, he won't go to jail. I'll have his case dismissed with prejudice because I'm like that with the law. Just a lot of things that they did, even though, what he did, but the system is just overreaching. And, it's just a lot of things going on. And I'm just putting it out there for whoever's hearing it, that I can help this man out or individuals that are in his situation where I can walk them right out of prison and have them charges dismissed with prejudice, and this is an issue that the government has with me because I'm not laying down regardless of what. I don't care how you dress it up.
There you go. And there's no law against being a freak.
At all. So, exactly. So my thing is, it was a domestic case and the state couldn't charge them, but they still brought it in the feds. Abuse of power is called misconduct. I mean, they did a lot of illegal things, then I'm willing to step up and have this man walk out of prison within 60 days if the right person or his kids or somebody call me.
Okay, I hear
can
that.
walk him out. I can walk him out.
There
There's
you go.
There's nothing about it.
There you go.
You need to.
Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, I applaud you for for what you're doing now, but you need a documentary. You need to get with some people that can film that documentary of you.
He's with the people. He's here on the GoPro Radio Network.
Yeah, I'm down with anything. Period.
Well, you stay down with us and come on and let people know and speak out. And that's how I got notability in my case against the city of New York. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't lay back. Don't suffer in silence.
Right.
Don't do that. A lot of black people do that. Oh no, I'm too proud. Like I don't want nobody to know it's me and what they did to me. I know they targeted me, but I don't want to talk about it.
Well, they're afraid of the retaliation or whatever. Me, I don't give two shits what they do. You can, it's like I always say, and I tell my family, some of my family law enforcement, I tell, if they're going to pull me over, I'm taking off. I'm driving straight to the police station. You want to talk to me? We talk inside in front of the cameras.
Exactly.
I'm not stopping for nobody because I already know it's going to be a life or death situation.
Exactly.
With me, because I'm speaking out and I know how to beat the Fed system now, being that I've been put in that situation.
Like I said, you're the Superman. Don't nobody go see that fake Superman in the movies.
Right.
The Supermen right now are fighting against injustice.
Exactly, yes.
And what type of support do you think you need?
Well, when I went in, I just need, like I said, to put it out there. Get like I said, a news reporter, book, whatever it is that's gonna take to turn the system around. Even if they wind up killing me, it don't make a difference. The thing is that I refuse to lay down, and this is gonna be till death do us apart. Period.
Yeah, I want to ask you: have you ever thought about getting like a wrongful conviction attorney? I myself, I'm currently fighting my case. My case is currently pending in front of the Kings County District Attorney's Conviction Review Unit. I mean, even though, they're going to give me the runaround, we already anticipated that. But I have these attorneys whose their specific job is to exonerate me. I have two high-powered attorneys. Actually, I have Oscar Michelin, which is one of the world-renowned, wrongful conviction attorneys in the whole United States. They use them as expert witnesses in the whole 9 yards. And I mean, you should consider that, because
is this federal? Federal?
Well, they do state and federal. See, the thing about wrongful convictions, it's not restricted solely to any specific jurisdiction, whether state or federal. It's the whole issue is that, do you have enough evidence to substantiate the fact that you are actually and factually innocent? In my case, have that. I have
me too.
That. In my case, my case was so overwhelming that a governor even granted me a clemency hearing to consider me for a full pardon, which is in the movie Sing Sing. When you get a chance, take some time out and check out the movie Sing Sing. It's streaming on HBO and all those streaming platforms, so it's widely available now. And the circumstances surrounding my wrongful conviction was so outrageous and so extreme and so blatant that it was enough to compel a governor to say, hold up, give this man a hearing, even though his commissioners didn't grant it. But by the time I went to my actual parole board, after serving 25 straight years, I went to that parole board and maintained my innocence vigorously. And under those circumstances, normally they hit you at the board. You have to take responsibility. You have to take remorse. You have to show remorse. If you don't, they deuce you 2 years, and they can literally deuce you to death, because I have life on the back. Once you have life on the back in the state system, that's what it means, life. They can deuce you until you die. But in any event, they let me go. And eventually when I got out, my story was so outrageously compelling. And also I'm a founding member of Rehabilitation Through the Art. So I have done a lot of things. While in there, I also wrote like I got like 5 published books while I was in there. And I was probably like the only prisoner that had 5 published works that I had got published from a cell. Won 5 National Writing Awards. I mean, I don't even want to list all the stuff I was doing, because you know as well as I know, when you get a wrongful conviction on your back and you looking down a life sentence, down the barrel of a life sentence, it bring out some powers in you that you don't even know you got.
Exactly, you're right.
Especially when you say, I'm fighting this thing, I don't care what they do, what they say, I'm gonna fight it until the day I die, and you bring that energy to that whole process, man, I was doing things that I couldn't even believe I could do, because that was that injustice, that blatant injustice that they were doing to me. And I vowed that no, they ain't. I'm not rolling over.
Yeah,
you know. So you should consider that.
Everybody, if you want, you can give them my number. I mean, I'm out there. I'm willing to do what I need to do, and like I said, I can write the briefs, the drafts, the XYZ. But you got a lot of these lawyers that they're officers of the court. They're not beat to.
There you go. There you go.
They're not beat to fight the system.
No.
And those that are, they just buy them. They get rid of them. They, you know.
Right. I agree. Most attorneys are that, but see, this particular attorney that's representing me, he did 16 years in prison for rape murder that he didn't do and got exonerated. Got home and became an attorney. So he's of a different caliber. He's fighting the system on a whole different level.
Call me.
Jeff is the man. He's in my film. Yeah, he's unlike the traditional attorneys, though.
Right, he's
an anomaly. He's an anomaly. Right. He's not like the rest. So, I agree with Sonny, and I agree with you, Mr. Concepcion, that the average attorneys, I was 99.9. But Divine happens to be really lucky to have met somebody who not only has gone through it, but he understands the system in a unique way. So I definitely think Jeff is one of those kind of. He's actually interviewed in the film. And the reason why he's in the film is because he's so rare. But we have a question from one of the panelists that says, "What should justice and repair look like in cases like yours, and how can we organize to demand it?" And that's to everybody. This is from Jacqueline. Mm-hmm.
To keep supporting the GoPro Radio Network.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get everybody's situation out there, put it out there, because a lot of people don't believe, like they feel as, well, if the FBI lock you up, they got a case, this and that. They just don't understand that these individuals don't have a problem with fabricating a case on anybody. They can indict a cheese sandwich. Put it like that.
Well, look at what they did with Martin Luther King Jr. They say the propaganda is he was killed on that ledge out there, that hotel. But he wasn't killed out there. He died in the hospital because 2 men in black suits suffocated him.
Right. William Pepper did
That's also mentioned in my play.
Wow. So, folks, I'm sorry we've run out of time. We're going to ask Mr. Concepcion to come on back. Brother, you are always invited. Welcome to the family now. You're part of the GoPro Radio Network. I hope to see you here next Wednesday. And also, if you can make it out to Baltimore, it's going to be well worth your time. You can connect with a filmmaker out there as well. His name is Colte's Ransom, and he has a play coming out this Saturday, and hopefully it's going to be coming to Broadway, because I heard it's a smoker. It's called Between Us. It's this Saturday, July 19th. It's at 6 p.m. And you can call and leave a message with someone, and somebody will get back to you on how you can get your tickets. And it's probably going to be will call, like at the leave your name at the entry point. The number is 270-277-2580. That number once again is 270-277-2580. And please, folks, tickets are going fast. Space is limited. You're going to want it. This is going to be historic because it's going to be the first one. I'm quite sure there's going to be many more after this. And it's going to be, you want to be the first. I remember when it first came out, I was in the audience. I was in the seat. So make sure that you grab your ticket as soon as possible. And please, Sean says, use technology to tell your story. I'm an award-winning Cannes film, award-winning filmmaker. You have a lot of talent right here in this room, Mr. Concepcion, that you can tap into. I always say this, and I'm going to leave with this: start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, and know that you are enough. And guess what? We're all we got, but that we're all that we need. All we need is each other, and we need to go back to that. We don't need them. We are more than enough, folks, to win this. And there's more of us than them. Always remember that. There's more of us.
Everybody has my number. They can call me anytime. I'll see y'all next week, Wednesday.
Put it in the chat. Make sure you put your contact information in the chat, and we'll share it with folks, and we'll see you next Wednesday, folks. Until then, everybody, keep your head on the swivel, stay safe, and please check on your elderly. Check on the vulnerable community during this heat and humidity and this poor quality of air that's going on. We all know the food is horrible. We all know that the air is horrible. The water, even the bottled water, got plastic in it. So we know that it's very important. It's incumbent upon us to check up on each other, right? So we'll do that. All right. Until next week, folks, I want you to, just stay plugged in. Tomorrow, don't forget, join us on the show. Sonny will be here on his program. He has a program. It's called I Ain't Having It, and it starts at 10 o'clock. Hey, maybe you can pop in on that show as well. We'll see you. Until then, everybody, stay safe.